Hey guys! Today we're going to learn about photosynthesis and cell respiration. So photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the process plants use to make their food from sunlight. And unfortunately, we can't do photosynthesis, but plants can, and they use organelles that only plant cells have called chloroplasts to do that. So to think about what the reactants are for photosynthesis, we need to think about what is it that plants need. Well, we know that plants need water, right? And water is one of the reactants of photosynthesis. We also know that plants absorb carbon dioxide from the air. That's another reactant of photosynthesis. So we've got water, carbon dioxide, and then energy from the sun is the energy that's used to power photosynthesis. And then the products of photosynthesis are sugar or glucose, so that's the food for the plant, and oxygen. We know that plants release oxygen. How nice of them. So here's our diagram for photosynthesis. And photosynthesis happens in the chloroplast of the plant cell. There's a pigment there called chlorophyll that absorbs the sunlight. So on the left side here, what's going in our reactants, remember, are water and carbon dioxide. CO2, that's what the plant's taking in. Now it also needs that sunlight for this reaction to happen. Okay, and then our products, what's being made is glucose, which is sugar, and oxygen, O2. So if we were going to write this out as an equation, we'll do this down here at the bottom. It would be 6H2O, the numbers are there to balance out our equation, plus 6CO2 produces, the formula for glucose is C6H12O6 plus 6O2. And then sunlight would go over the arrow here because it's what we need for this reaction to happen. Sunlight. Next to learn about is cell respiration. And cell respiration actually happens in the cells of animals, and it happens in the cells of plants. And it's really amazing because cell respiration is pretty much the opposite of photosynthesis. So what plants need, that's what's released in cell respiration. And what plants release is what other organisms need for cell respiration. Isn't life amazing? So the reactants of cell respiration, that would be oxygen. So if you think about, we need oxygen, right? And glucose, or sugar, which comes from our food. So when you're trying to remember these, just think about, what do we need? We need food, we need oxygen. Those are the reactants of cell respiration. And then the products of cell respiration, what's produced, is, first of all, energy. Cell respiration is how our cells take our food and turn it into usable energy. So energy, or ATP, is a product of cell respiration. And there are two waste products, water and carbon dioxide. So when you breathe out, you actually breathe out both of those waste products. So take your hand, hold it in front of you, and breathe on your hand. It's wet. Water and carbon dioxide, the two waste products of cell respiration. There you go. Now remember, I was talking about how
cellular respiration is like the opposite of photosynthesis. So here, this happens in our mitochondria, okay? In the mitochondria in cells. And so our reactants for cell respiration are the products for photosynthesis. So that was oxygen, O2, and glucose, which we get from our food. That's used to make ATP, or energy, and then we have our waste products of water and carbon dioxide. We breathe both of those out. Pretty cool, huh? So that's one way you can remember it. If we were to write out cell respiration as an equation, it would look like this. 6O2 plus our glucose, which was C6H12O6, gives us 6H2O plus 6CO2 plus energy. Ooh. There we go.
Cell respiration is called aerobic respiration because it needs oxygen. But certain organisms can create their energy without oxygen, and that's called anaerobic respiration. So for example, our muscle cells can do anaerobic respiration. So if you're working out really hard and you're breathing heavy and your cells aren't getting enough oxygen, your muscle cells can continue to produce ATP by doing what's called lactic acid fermentation. And that makes energy, less energy, but it makes energy without using oxygen. Or another example is yeast. When you make bread, you mix the yeast into the dough, there isn't very much oxygen in there. And so they do what's called alcoholic fermentation to make their energy without oxygen. And to end, I say, thank a plant for producing all our oxygen.